This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hello. My hat is a little messed up. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? ParVision is here. He's just he's invisible though. So I'm joking. ParVision's gonna actually be here in like a couple minutes. He ran into some traffic. It's Jersey, happens. So So this is that One Piece talk. My name is Larry.
Lars. Wano. Seb.
And this is that One Piece talk, where we talk One Piece. I got thrown off by like him going, Lionel, like super loud. Because I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't have a mic.
Yeah. Oh shit. We'll try to split it.
Yeah, banana split it.
Anyway, the ice cream.
Yo, it's so crazy. Everybody, thank you for joining us on episode 49. It's One Piece break week, so that means that there's no manga at all this week, which is kind of a refresher just because it leaves a lot to talk about. Also, today's going to be a 2-hour special episode for us as well. So you can sit back, relax, chill, have some drinks like we are. Deuces. And we're going to get a little bit loose and just talk about anything and everything. This is probably the most I'm going to be talking throughout the podcast as well, because this week I didn't decide to make questions. I do have questions from Jaheim.
Hey,
Thank you, Onion. What did Onion say?
Onion said, life's been in the way, so I haven't been around much. But I still got mad love for y'all, my Nakama.
Hey, Nakama, Brody. Thank you so much. Hopefully life doesn't go too fast or too slow, but just the right speed for you. But thank you for being here. So these guys happen to have made questions for the show. ParVision's going to have his own questions to talk about as well.
Should I move over? I feel like it's weird.
Nah, we're good. ParVision, we're good. And then we're just going to enjoy ourselves. So there's not much to talk about except that. But anyway, for the time being, Marv, Marv, hit that sponsor. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you been struggling lately? Maybe you're having trouble sleeping, difficulty with a relationship, or just struggling from low self-esteem. Listen, I've been there. We've been there. If so, then today's BetterHelp wants to help you. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. Talk to your therapist in a private, online environment at your own convenience. There is a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network that gives you access to help that may not be available in your area. You just fill out a questionnaire, simple as that, to help assess your specific needs. And then you get matched with the therapist in under 48 hours. Then you schedule a secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you can exchange unlimited messages and everything you share is completely confidential. I happened to sign up at one point regarding my confidence issues. Next thing you know, my confidence issues are not issues anymore. I'm doing pretty well in that area. You can request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. Special offer goes out to all that One Piece Talk listeners. You get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/TOPT. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TOPT. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, I gotta stop dressing alike.
We're not dressed alike.
Stop twinning. We're not. It's hard to tell y'all apart. No, I'm joking.
Stop it. We're not even dressed alike.
Y'all dressed alike.
No, we're not. The only thing is that we're wearing an over.
Bro, they wear the same thing and be like, "Yo, we wearing different colors. We're not dressing alike."
We're not wearing the same thing though.
I know, but it's very similar.
The only thing is because it's like a cold bar.
It's two things where one is like chest pocket over
And you got like the tactile neck going on.
Barely. This is kind of small for a neck. But I get what you mean. But he doesn't even have that.
Yeah, I don't. This is a button up too. This is a short sleeve.
All right. Anyway, who's in the chat, Seb? Let's say what's up to everybody.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in the chat. We got Jaheim, KJ, Kaiwan Webster, Jose, United States of Blurred, Peter Keenan, I Hate Mew, Onion, Phantom Greyfire, Eddie Bonilla, Shane Adams, Jamal D. Just so many. Jordan.
Yo, shout out to everybody, man.
SGG.
Shout out to everybody, man.
Void didn't know it was me, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Been arguing with Void for months.
Yeah, so
Chris, just a lot. There's so many in the chat, man. Javian.
yeah, so everybody, thank you again, man.
Appreciate you being here.
Seriously, thank you. On top of more thank yous.
ParVision said Larry's in my seat. Par, where you at, bro?
That's where he sat last time.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? It's because whoever's in this seat can't really get a great view on the camera when Marv does the switching of angles and it focuses on one person. So I figured I would like ParVision to be more highly defined, I guess. That's not the right word. It's not the right expression.
To be visible.
I want him to look better. Pause. He's attractive.
Yo, Par is...
Bing bong!
There is a lady vision, bro. Par is...
There is a lady vision, bro.
Right.
You think her name is Lady Vision? We gotta ask Par when he gets here.
Her name is Wanda. That was a bad joke. That was a bad joke.
I didn't get it at first, but now I got it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yo, okay, so let's talk One Piece, bro. Let's talk One Piece. This is what we're here for.
Nonsense.
Yeah, we're just talking nonsense for a couple minutes. Everybody's like, yo, I didn't come here for this.
This is what happens when we do 2 hours, bro.
We can get foolish.
Yeah, we can get kind of foolish. I think Marv's about to come in here and do push-ups.
Push-up cop?
Yeah, he just left. That's all.
Yeah, he's probably letting Par in or something, bro. I don't know.
Nah.
The door's not locked. The door. Anyway.
It could be.
It could be.
We don't know.
Could be, possibly.
It'd be locked sometimes.
Yeah. What was? Oh, he's back. All right.
Thank you.
It's
hot.
Yeah.
Someone started glistening. It was probably me.
It was Wano, bro.
Yeah.
Wano's shiny, bro.
Sweating.
This is your upper lip.
Yeah.
It's glistening, bro.
No diss. Just.
Like,
Anyway.
So we're gonna talk about One Piece.
People just think you look good right now, bro. They said you're going on a date after this.
Listen, bro. I'm gonna share my mic with Lionel because he's talking. Hey, talking to the mic. Man. This is why I did it. All right, so let's do one question for now from Jaheim Smith. He says, question 1. What are your predictions for Luffy and Kaido next chapter based on what went down last chapter?
That was my question. Okay, no.
Anybody go? I told you I'm chilling this episode. Go.
What was the question again? What are the predictions between...
Yeah, what's the prediction? Do you think Kaido's down? Or like, what's your predictions for next chapter?
I guess I'll go. Pretty much, honestly... I do not want Kaido to be down. Like, pretty much, I'm not fully satisfied with this to be Kaido's it, because what Oda led us to believe, or led me to believe about Kaido, is that his taking ability is supposed to be, like, for all that he is supposed to be, like, one of the top. Like, I don't think Luffy's going to fight someone as durable as Kaido, or his makeup, right? He's an Oni. Like, for example, I mentioned before about the whole, because the show mentioned it, that fishmen alone are supposed to be 100 times or 10 times stronger than humans, right? Then you have the upgrade, I guess that is Lunarians. And then if Kaido's an Oni, and Onis are supposed to be the top out of all of them, the top species durability. So not only Kaido's that, and then you have already the base Zohan ability users, right? Are supposed to be more durable, and they awaken. Pretty much, as in they could absorbing damage, they get up faster than that. But not only is he a Zohan, he's not a basic Zohan. He's not an ancient. He's a mythical. So the top Zohan. So not only you're the top species, probably you're the top Zohan, and you're a dragon. You know, dragon level Zohan. So with that. Hey,
KJ.
Welcome, bro.
Par did not wear the shirt. So if you put money up, you lost.
Welcome. Welcome. How are you?
There
Par
he is.
fly, bro.
What's going on, bro?
ParVision's in the building. Everybody, welcome Par. Par's in the building. You've heard.
There he is.
Yo, I wear your guys' shirt on my stream.
I
Advertise you guys here.
You and Lawrence both got the tactile necks. Y'all good.
I'm gonna say we're low key matching because it is a short sleeve.
Hey, we got
which
the
is rare.
memo, yeah.
I might take this off. because it's
You
hot.
remind me of the guy from that Jackie Chan movie when he was kicking.
Ooh, Gorgeous.
Yeah.
The movie with Jackie
You ever
Chan,
seen it?
Gorgeous.
Oh,
No.
It's like this
my
really
God.
athletic dude that wears the exact same shirt.
Yeah.
Really?
Wasn't Jackie Chan wearing like all black and then
No,
the guy
other
was
way
wearing
around.
all white?
Other way around.
Oh, they were
God.
all the way around.
He was
Okay.
all black. Jackie Chan was all
Oh,
white.
my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it was like top 5
That's
best fight
so
scenes.
long ago.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey, we gotta
welcome,
pull it
Par.
up.
Welcome, bro.
Sorry, I'm late.
It's
It was
okay,
like,
man.
dude, I texted you, right? Like saying like there was accidents, construction. After I texted you, there's 2 more. I was like, what? In the last 10 minutes of the drive, how's that gonna happen? It was like the dude did. There was no accident. It was like a fender bender. I was like, bro, like keep driving.
Do you want a drink? You want the little wine? That they have?
Oh, I forgot my water.
Yeah,
What?
you could just have water too. I'm not trying
No,
to
we got 2
influence
hours.
you.
We
got 2 hours.
We got
do.
2 hours. Yeah,
we do
good.
have 2 hours.
What was the question again?
The predictions for next chapter, basically.
Part of the whole video for that, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. Lawrence is going now.
My fault.
Yeah. So finish up.
Yeah,
Will.
so just to finish up, so I was just saying that again about the Kaido being a mythical Zohan and a dragon at that, and we talked about how durable dragons are with the dragon scales getting past their tough skin. All of that, like Kaido's supposed to be one of the most. I can't imagine just off base wise, not even adding Kaido's own strength to it. Luffy fighting someone more durable than this. And then, yes, they've been fighting for a while now, and Kaido's been taking a lot of damage. But in a way, not that he got one-shotted, obviously, no one could say that with Kaido. But this one punch, just ending the fight. Yes, I'm not. It could send Kaido flying, but to end the fight this way, like I expected, like a Gatling, because I think you need to overwhelm Kaido with a tremendous amount of power to stop him. You know, so I predict what I would want is Kaido to get up. Right, and when we talked about this, about like, 'cause he shouldn't be the only one getting up, because I feel like with the Zohans, they've been kind of down for like a good minute, you know, like King, Queen, and even the ones that Jinbei fought, like you're supposed to rise again because you're Zohans. So, granted, in the state the Straw Hats are in, I don't see them fighting again because they're kind of like at their last string. But for what we learned about Zohans, they should get up again. So that's what I would want. You know, not really to prolong Wano, but to give us what we learned, what we all thought Zohans are capable of.
Okay. Yeah, Oz, thank you for the 5, man. Yeah, we did just start. Par just came in though.
We made it.
Lionel, you want to go?
So, like, we all share those feelings. Like, you know, we want Kaido to get up again with his crew. Because again, it's been stressed before. But I'm always going by like how Oda written the manga. Like, we all expect Kaido to go, get up, but how Oda wrote it, is he gonna get up? That's the question. Like, is it actually end of the chapter already? Because like you even said that Oda even prolonged Wano. You know, he was gonna showing it before. So like, is it to the point where I think I'm gonna end it now? You know, so I'm going to like again. I want Kaido to get up, but I'm thinking of even if Kaido does get up, how are you gonna write that to make it sense for us? All right, how is Luffy gonna take that challenge now? Like Luffy's already at his limit. Luffy's like, you know, he already reached his limit fighting Kaido in his 5th, and he like got to his weakest state that he looked old. Then he willed himself back to fight Kaido, and finally, seemingly he possibly end Kaido. Now all that, Kaido's went awakening, and now like, all right, I just gave everything I got in this last attack. But again, I don't know, like we always like to see the Straw Hats at their worst, as in like the worst possible situation they're in, and they're overcoming it. That's what One Piece is all for willpower. So like they're supposed to be in a dire situation where how are we gonna win this? Yet they just will it out, like which we always see them do. So like that's the part we all want, But I'm just thinking, I don't know if we're actually gonna get that because of the how the manga was how the manga was written in Wano, and how Kaido is as a beast. Like again, Kaido's overwhelming already. Like we saw how much it took to even bring him to this point. So like for him to get up after this is just like, yo, like the Strats are pretty much like, would it make sense if Kaido's still losing after that? Like thinking about it, Kaido going awakening, the Strats at their weakest, and he still loses. Will we accept that? So that's the question. Honestly, I'm thinking, will we accept that Kaido going awakening and he still loses, even the Strats at their weakest?
Okay. Sab, and then we'll go Par after.
Dude, this chat is wild, bro. That's all I can say about that. This is wild stuff happening there. Predictions for next chapter. I think we continue the flashback. You know what I mean? I think we might get allusions to whether the fight's done or not. If it's done, we'll probably have a concrete "it's done" next chapter. But I do think we expand more on the flashback next chapter. That's just me. If I was writing it, I would probably just expand more because I don't think most people were completely satisfied with the amount of the flashback or what we got from this flashback. Mm-hmm. And for it to be Kaido's flashback, I just think there's a lot. I said flashback a lot of times. I just think there's more to it.
You just got to flashback to it.
I just think there's more to it. Even if the fight is done, I just think it should be expanded on a little bit more. So I think that's what we're getting next chapter. Maybe a cliffhanger at the end of Kaido getting up. I think if we are going to expand on it, though, we could get 2 or 3 more chapters.
That could be dope.
Of flashback.
Yeah.
Flashback, then Kaido getting up at the end of the flashback.
Yeah. What about you, Par? Sound off, bro. Go ahead, bro.
Yo, I made the prediction video, right? And I was on the drive over here. I was like, am I really like thinking that that's exactly what's gonna happen? And honestly, I'm not sure anymore. I like, you know, I'm pretty confident Kaido's getting back up. Like I feel like it, but then Oda could just have him down. Like it could be like that, but it doesn't feel like that, right? It doesn't feel like that. In terms of the flashback, I think there is that opening in my video I was talking about after God Valley and before Higurashi's thing. There's 10 years. That it was like, to me it was like, all right, if we're gonna get a flashback, that's the 10 years. Why? Because it's like there's King joined the crew, Queen joined the crew. He started the Beast Pirates. He had Yamato. We don't know who's Yamato's mom. Where that come from? Yeah, like Yamato's fruit. Like that was probably around then. We're not really sure. And then, you know, in that time, Higurashi said that he became the embodiment of might. So it's like whether it was God Valley or some things afterwards, like, you know, that 10 years is really important. It's like how can Oda bring in that flashback to make it like meaningful? And if Kaido's defeated, then it's like, when would we get that flashback, right? So it feels like he has to get back up. Now, in terms of him defeating, this is the feeling that I had ever since like chapter 1010. I was starting to get the feeling that this fight with Kaido was going to be like Katakuri's fight, where it's like Katakuri, you know, we can all kind of agree by the end of it, he kind of was just like, all right, you got this, you won, this is your W, you know, move on. That's kind of how it was, like whether, you know, you can say Luffy's stronger than Katakuri, whatever. At the end of the day, the way it was portrayed, it felt more like Katakuri is just like, my will to fight you is gone, rather than like, I can't go anymore, right? And right now we're having that setup where in the last part of this chapter, we're seeing that he's realizing that Luffy's Joy Boy, right? So it's kind of, I think the question is, what happens? Because we don't know Kaido's perspective of Joy Boy right now. Like, we've gotten glimpses of, like, you think I'm Joy Boy, like, you're not Joy Boy this, Joy Boy that, right? So it's like, what happens when Kaido recognizes or sees Joy Boy and it's not him, right? To me, I feel like when that happens, Kaido's defeated, because then Kaido's just gonna be like, all right, I don't want to fight Joy Boy. Like, that's not why I was doing any of the stuff that I was doing. And so it's kind of like it's a little wonky, and I feel like that's what Oda's playing up to with all these flashbacks. Because like when you think about the emphasis of this last flashback that we got one, it was the continuation of that King speech, right? Like when King was talking to him, it's like, you know, I'll follow you as long as you're the strongest, right? And then Kaido's just like, well, Joy Boy's gonna be stronger than me, right? So now we see him get knocked down, and it's like, Luffy's probably Joy Boy. Kaido's gonna feel like he's gonna see it and be like, "Hey, yo, King, I guess we gotta help him out. We got everybody off Wano right now. We started this mess. We gotta clean up. I don't know. Like that's where it's weird because it's like it feel right now with the transition for like a lot. There's a big part. Like I don't know if you guys saw my thumbnail, but like Kaido and Luffy being friends. Like there's a lot of people that actually like support that. Do you guys feel
No.
like? All right, no.
No, absolutely not.
I can
Never.
kind of see it.
Ever.
You can see it.
Kind of, but it matters how it goes. But like, because mostly going by how Kaido is weird. Like one point he wanted to even drink with Luffy during fighting. And it kind of goes into what you said, like when Kaido questioned to Luffy, you couldn't be Joy Boy, and that goes back to him losing to Joy Boy. Because I'm fighting this person, I just took him out. He can't beat me. He's not Joy Boy. But now it's like later on when Luffy gets Gear 5th, Kaido's like, who are you?
Yeah.
So like his thought on Luffy started changing at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something, only that leeway. Like the rest, because Kaido's a terrible person, and Luffy's gonna feel, nah, I hate you. Like get out of here. So like.
So have you guys heard the Douglas Bullet thing with Kaido?
No.
Okay. So me and Mosh were talking about this like in December or January or something like that, where like I made that Strong World movie where it's like Strong World kind of was the blueprint for the rest of the time skip, and the next video I was gonna make on the movie stuff, but I didn't post it because it wasn't I think I didn't post it because Gear 5 came out, and I was just like, why am I gonna be doing this when Gear 5's here, right? So, but the next thing was Stampede. Stampede was a really interesting part because there's a lot of parallels with Wano. When you think about Stampede, it was like a pirate fest, right? And one of the surprising things is all the worst generation came into Wano. And because of that, that's why I think we're also going to get that same thing in Wano. And then when we got Kid, Hawkins, like everybody showing up, I was like, oh, this is Stampede. This is actually that. And then it got one-upped because Oden's journal. So Oden's journal, I don't know if you guys watch Stampede, but Stampede has the eternal log post for Laughdale. So essentially, the presence of that log post is like a shortcut to Endgame, right? Same thing with Oden's journal. If it was fully intact, then you could just read it and then skip to the end, right?
So I heard you talk about this in your stream with Hidden.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're saying that like the movie storyboard for the future of the series itself?
Yeah. And Stampede came out right before Wano started. And so now the Douglas Bullet thing. So this is where it's like it's a little hairy because I don't agree with it, but the way it's being portrayed, it's like, oh wait, Kaido's Douglas Bullet. And it's kind of like if you look at the relationship with Douglas Bullet is kind of like he was on Roger's crew, like non-canonly. I don't think it's canon that he was on the crew. But so Douglas was like this monster that joined Roger's crew, and Rogers kept on beating him up, right? Like, and Douglas is like, all right, he's stronger than me. I'm just gonna stay on the crew, right? And then I think it was like he left at some point because there was like an altercation. Again, we don't know if it's canon or not canon because it's never been shown in the manga. But people are saying that was Kaido's relationship with Rocks, like that he was like this monster on that crew. And then some people are like, it's because that's the way I see it. But then people are like, no, he's gonna be the Douglas Bullet on Luffy's crew. God, no. And I'm just like, all right, we need to stop that.
What?
But the where it connects is the way the fight progressed, right? So Luffy one-on-one Douglas Bullet, right? Normal. And then what happened was, I forget the order of things. I have to rewatch it, but Douglas Bullet like goes down, and like it's kind of like one of those things. But then what happens is Douglas Bullet awakens, and then he's so massively strong that Luffy can't take it. And then what happens is Law, Boa, Smoker, Buggy, like a group of 5. I forget the other person. They all combo attacked, prepping for
Sabo?
Luffy.
Because Sabo, I think, was part of it.
Yeah, Sabo. Yeah. Man, I forgot Sabo. If it were Ace, I wouldn't have forgotten. So like there might be a setup here where Kaido awakens, and like you were saying, if Kaido awakens, even in Gear 5, can Luffy take that, right? I don't know, but if we're going the Douglas Bullet route, then there's going to be like a combo attack. There's going to be a setup where it's like, maybe it's Luffy's crew. We don't know. An interesting thing someone said in my comments in my video is that when you look at the Tobiropo, the commanders, and Kaido, that's the even lineup for the Straw Hats.
It is, yeah.
So I don't see that. I don't want the Tobiropo to come back because they were kind of disappointing. But like,
but that's why you would want them to come back.
Yeah, but like.
But they're not gonna do anything.
Yeah, like the other thing is like the mass awakening. Like Moore just said, the mass awakening. I don't think that makes sense to me because it's like Queen didn't care about his fruit. Like the whole point of awakening is like you're supposed to line up with, unless they're all going mindless and we're just throwing out all these characters.
It would have to be a huge
right, or they do
rampage.
The other thing would be the chopper route where it's like I guess if you just push them into the water, they would just like fix, because that's what happened to Ennie's lobby chopper, right? Yeah. So I mean that's there, but I don't see the mass awakening thing because it's just the way they were with their devil fruits. Besides maybe Black Maria, like none of them were really that great with their fruits. Mm-hmm. Sakazuki and not Sakazuki, was that his name? Sasaki.
Sasaki.
Right?
I mean, he did the
So him and King were both like, this is how dinosaurs work. I was like, it's like I knew how dinosaurs work, but like apparently they know better, so they're synced up, right?
So was Queen though. He did the Braccio launcher.
Wasn't that like he modified it?
That's what I thought.
They're all modified, bro. They can't just do that.
Sasaki and King, like I don't know if they modified it, but like Queen was just an odd one out there, right? Like
SGG said, Queen's in another country right now.
Yeah, we gotta see where they landed too. Isn't it odd though? Like in any other arc, has it ever been like when the Straw Hats like fought their 1v1s, their opponent like not ever be shown? We always saw them defeated, right? Like I feel like in Dressrosa we saw everyone like demolished, like their gonzo face, right? But then in Wano, the end of the fight is very different. I don't think any arc has shown it. Maybe Skypiea.
So with Wano, they did show the defeated faces of the Tobiropo. They didn't show them for King and Queen.
Tobiropo don't care.
But like,
don't matter.
I don't know. Larry, what do you think about next chapter predictions? Been silent this whole time, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I didn't eat, yo.
you had pizza before we came here.
It wasn't enough. So I'm feeling pretty good.
What happened to those snacks?
You said you didn't want snacks.
But if you wanted snacks, then hello?
You said you didn't want snacks. I didn't get snacks. Prediction, I just go off of what I would want to see. And realistically, it goes back to everything I've always said about Wano. Wano is it's glittering, but it's not necessarily gold. And this is the conversation that me and Sebastian were having for like an hour and a half plus, yesterday, I believe. It's because Wano's set up in a way where it feels like this is the first time Oda hasn't really fleshed out the entirety of the story. He knew what he wanted in the end of it, but he didn't know how he necessarily wanted to get there. So this is why we've had so much power scaling happening, but we've been getting things that we've been mysteriously pondering about since, Thriller Bark. It's just, we want to see the Yonkos in action. So we see the Yonkos in action. We're satisfied. We want to be able to see flashbacks of Roger because we want to know more about Roger. We don't know much about him. We see that. We're satisfied. But the way that we're getting there isn't necessarily fitting what we truly want. And this is where I broke it down to Sebastian too, is that Oda happens to be a walking contradiction where he's trapped in this shonen world, right? Mm-hmm. But necessarily he's such a great writer that the plot itself is working against him in a sense of he's just too great for shonen. So his fights are going to lack. His fights are going to be dictated by the plot itself. We're never going to get a correct fight, which me and Sebastian were going back and forth again, but in a peaceful manner. Where
it was peaceful.
No, it was peaceful.
Right, I'll take your word for it.
Where Sebastian was like, well, the only thing we could compare these one-on-ones to is to Ennis Lobby.
I was about to say that.
And then we were like, okay. Sebastian was like, listen, we both watched One Piece, but we never read the manga during the Ennis Lobby arc. Because you remember when we were in the house, we were watching the anime until probably Marineford. And that's when we started reading the manga. Mm-hmm. So Sebastian was like, yo, it most likely wasn't set up, the fights like they are now. He probably was just doing the same thing, kind of storyboarding in a way. And then Sebastian went back and he was like, yo, honestly, no. He was fleshing out details for each fight. He would like, his name is Fukuroka. What's his name?
Chop up pop, bro. We good.
All right. Like, you know the CP9's agent?
The Doriki guy?
Yeah, he goes chop up pop.
Yeah, that
All
one.
right. So that fight in itself with Frankie is fully fleshed out for like 2.5 chapters.
Yeah, it was a good fight.
But we only got the Sasaki fight for like a full chapter. But it was like the way Oda has set up Wano is that there's like 7 things happening on one page each time. So that fight between Frankie and Sasaki didn't start until like what, 996 or something like that you said, and then it stopped at like 1019.
Yeah.
But realistically, like they weren't fighting that long. It just seemed like they were.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been. I'm gonna make a full circle about what I'm saying right now. So just give me time. What I'm saying is that these fights seem very underwhelming because he's trying to flesh out so much plot to the point that we're getting so much because there's so much already happening. The story is kind of overwhelming even Oda to a degree. So he's trying to like control everything. So this is where it gets to my point. Kaido has been set up to take everything from the jump. He's received every devastating attack, right? And he's just tanked it, right? In a way, Oda has conditioned us to think that Kaido is going to get back up even after this attack. When you condition your reader, you're necessarily setting them up for either disappointment or satisfaction. And I feel like this is why the One Piece community is just kind of in an uproar again, because previously we were in an uproar about the confusion of power scaling and why are these fights not seeming satisfactory, even though they're the longest fights in the series. That's that point. The second point is, like, it's because we've been set up to think that Kaido's going to get up. If he doesn't get up again, since the tension is necessarily not there for us, where it's desperate for the Straw Hats, the way they faced Kuma and didn't know what to do, the way they fought Aokiji, didn't know what to do, we don't have that anymore. Luffy's just been power scaled up to a point where we have to accept that whatever happens, happens, and we just have to enjoy the story. And if we give any feedback about this being subpar, then we're necessarily not enjoying the series. We're just hating. And I'm like, no, we're not. So Oda has put himself into a box. And it's not the Straw Hat box. It's just him writing box. Where, like, we expect Kaido to get up because his flashback was terrible, in a sense. It was too short. We expect more flashbacks because that wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. Where we've been set up by Doflamingo, right? Doflamingo has one of the greatest flashbacks. Senior Pink had one of the greatest flashbacks. Yeah. Again, it comes down to Oda doing what? Conditioning us. Ever since the New World started, he's been conditioning us to think that these villains are so much more interesting than we actually think. And now that we're having a Yonko, who we've been wanting to see for forever, he gave us this very short 2-page within a chapter flashback. I'm sorry. You're setting me up to make me feel the way I feel. And I shouldn't have to just accept it.
Yo, I wish I could read this chat, bro.
So at this point in time, what do I think is going to happen? I think Kaido's defeated. I think that, long story short, Kaido's defeated. Yeah, and I think that it's hard to accept that defeat right now. But realistically, man, this is the same thing that we've been receiving since the start of Wano. And it's not surprising to me.
I just want to, because, you know, at the beginning when I made a whole video about this, but then the reason why I faltered, and now I'm like more aligned agreeing with you, is because of episode 1018. Because in the manga, right, like Kaido doesn't take damage, like until 1010. Like until 1010, it's like Red Rock, yeah, like, but Red Rock in chapter 1000, it was like we could tell that he was sort of burned and sort of bleeding. But like when they showed it in 1015, it was like dude was coughing up blood, right? Yeah. Now you go back to 1018. There was like a one-panel cut in chapter 1003 from Zoro, right? It's just a slice, right? In the anime, it looks like Kaido needs stitches. Like it's in. I don't know if you guys seen it, but like
I've seen the picture.
So when if you are an anime watcher versus a manga reader, like if we got the way they're depicting the fight in the anime all the way up until now, we'd probably get to like whatever animation of 1049 and be like, yo, Kaido's done. You know what I mean? Because like I'm like literally even Killer demolished the internals on Kaido in the anime. None of us saw that in the manga, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if that's how they're showing it in the anime, yeah, like 1049 is probably Kaido's down. So that's where I'm like, like, am I really swaying my thought because the anime just showed like how devastating these blows are? Because like, if for one part you can't like you're saying like you can't show all these details in Wano, like in Onigashima, because there's so much plot that Oda's trying to fit in that most of these fights are going to be off screen, and we don't like I told a bunch of people, it's like we don't even know which fights are going to be shown in the anime, but I would bet that like half of them probably aren't even going to be shown because they're not that really important. You know what I mean? Maybe the Frankie one gets shown, right? Because like apparently Frankie can hurt Big Mom with his motorcycle. We don't like. I need to get clarity on the Sasaki versus. Does Frankie actually do stuff? Like, is he actually like a top tier Straw Hat fighter now? Like, I mean, he always was, but like now this is like a different. I feel like Onigashima painted Frankie in a different light, right? So him getting an off screen fight, and I was just talking about this too. It's like. I used to be anime only, and like that, you know, Marineford, you'd have a different perspective of Whitebeard, right? I'm imagining now, like Onigashima, if you went through that anime only and you talked to a manga reader, you would be talking about a different series almost.
1000%.
And it's like all of us, we're caring about the plot and story, and we're like recognizing that they're just seeing colors and auras and shit flashing.
And that's a big deal too. All right, so like in the manga, there is an aura around Zoro at some point.
Perfect segue.
But the way that they're doing it in the anime, even though this is like a different topic, the anime, bro, like. This is where I say people are okay with being fed garbage for so long because they feel like, well, this is the quality I've always received, so now I'm used to it. And anything I receive better than that is just an A+ in my book. Where I'm like, no. Like Zoro being purple, yellow, green, red,
right,
like you truly don't know what's going on because you don't realize what's actually Haki. And this is the sublimity of I don't even know if I said that word right, of what Oda is. Oda doesn't necessarily flesh everything out, right? This is what leaves you intrigued in the story. So like you don't know when Haki's being done. You don't know when this is being done or this is being done. You kind of have to digest it and then he'll reveal it later. But if we're seeing all these colors, you don't know what's happening with Enma. You don't know if Zoro's exhibiting like Haki. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
100%. Because I used to be anime only, and I was thinking about that recently. I was like, damn, that might be why I was like so drawn to the elemental Haki thing. Because in the manga, like elemental Haki isn't like, or like these like details aren't fleshed out because it's like plot driven, right? Like these it's left for the anime to flesh out. And so being an anime only thing, I paid attention to those things. And then when I reread the manga, I was like, oh, this panel, that panel, this panel, that panel, right? But like if you were just reading manga, you probably wouldn't even notice like these fire, lightning, like little detailed things like that. But in the anime, I don't know. And I asked the animator guy, he was responding to a bunch of people, but like I was like, yo, what's the deal with these auras? Like why is why is Zoro just like rainbow now? Like where did the golden aura come from, right? Because green and purple, cool. Right?
Lawrence a lot confused. They don't be watching.
But he turned Super Saiyan. No, not even that. Like one of my biggest problems was the audio track. They made Zoro sound constipated. Like, I don't know. Do you guys know?
What episode are you talking about?
1018.
I ain't watch it.
Okay. So people in the chat know if they were in my stream, the watch party, the audio track for Zoro needs to be swapped out, and then he also doesn't need to be going Super Saiyan. Like that just didn't need to happen. And like. If they were going to do that, why is he golden? And then they had the cool thing with the Oden stuff, but like, you know, I was going to, someone requested we talk about the aura stuff.
Paul, real quick, because you mentioned your stream, Phantom Greyfire is in the chat. He told me to ask you about when you got defeated off screen by a fly. He said, P.S. if he denies it, don't believe him. It happened on his live stream. What happened, bro?
I regret turning off my camera. Yo, this fly had observation. No lie. No, I'm good. I'm good with the swatter shit. This fly literally is dodging like future sight right in front of me. And then on the sound, you can hear the giant like thud. And I was like, I fucking did it.
I have two other things to announce from the chat. One, we've cracked over 100 congruent viewers.
Hey!
That was super dope. And two, apparently I look like King of Lightning. So
King of Lightning?
Yeah.
It's like the angles of the table, like over here, what you're.
Somehow I never got that comparison.
Michael B. Jordan over here. King of Lightning over here.
I was Michael B. Jordan in that seat, and now I'm King of Lightning.
All right, which one do you want to be?
I mean, I'm a One Piece YouTuber, right? I need to go King, right? I need to go King.
Yo, Michael B. Jordan watches anime.
Listen, bro.
Does he?
Yeah, except he pronounces it all funky.
Oh, fake weebs. Anyway, my fault. I cut you off.
Oh, wait, what? What was I talking about?
No.
You guys want to go to the next question? All right. Who wants to do their first question? I think we all have questions to ask specifically, right? Did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
Fight each other.
Well, someone wanted me to bring up the Zoro thing, that scene, right? But, but not even just like in the episode thing is a conversation on its own, right? But because of the anime now, do you remember our conversation we had in Discord about the sword stuff?
I think so.
Okay, there's a lot of people that think that the Enma, right? Mm-hmm. Enma is using Oden's haki. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the Enma, like in King's fight, was that Oden's haki? When he fought Kaido, was that Oden's haki? Whose haki was that?
Well, in my opinion, since the get, I've been saying that since Kaido has been necessarily being, he's been an exposition to an extent for certain things, right? Like Awakening and Devil Fruits and Roger and, you know, just other things, you know? Like, he's just been expanding upon things that we don't have answers to. Mm-hmm. Necessarily, when he said that about Zoro and Enma and Oden, that led me to believe that when you put your haki into a sword, overall, you're going to leave some residue of haki over time. Mm-hmm. So, considering Enma has its own personality to an extent, and it's been receiving a certain haki from a certain blade user for years, it would make sense that Oden was probably close to turning that blade black, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. If there was nobody else I could think of in the series besides probably Rayleigh who would probably be able to do something like that because he was a sword user, but overall, it's Oden. Right. So, when Kaido mentioned... Well, Mihawk, of course, too, but that's the exception. I'm just saying, because his blade is already black. What I'm saying is, like, when Kaido necessarily said, yo, what's up with that sword? Why do I feel like he's Oden? Or, like, something about Oden is in there. It wasn't because Zoro has no connection to Oden. Like, at all. Like, there's no connection. Like, there's none. Unless he's a Shimatsuki. No, there's none. Because they have no relation to each other besides the samurai that made that sword. Mm-hmm. But it's like, bro, at the end of the day, if Kaido is saying there's something weird about that sword and he realizes something that it might be connected to Oden, that means you can leave haki into into things, like into weapons. Right. So
what about the fact that, like, they've already said that, like, swords have a mind of their own? You know what I mean? Like, they've alluded to that already without Oden's
It could also be consciously, you know what I mean? Like, some swords can't live without haki. Mm-hmm. So maybe Enma kept some of Oden's haki inside of itself. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, I've always said this, until Zoro puts Enma down, we truly don't know how strong Zoro is.
I can agree with that.
Like, straight up 100%, bro.
I mean, he's probably not putting it down, though.
Like if Shisui was used against King and Zoro was able to accomplish the things that he's doing right now the same way he did with Enma, I'd be like, okay, Zoro's at that strength level for sure. But Enma has been such a... you know how you play RPGs? Yeah. And, like, they just turn your attack power up plus 50? Like, and then you no longer use that sword.
Yeah,
and you use something else, and now your attack power is like plus 20. That's
I want the
Enma.
twins' take on this, but like to rebut that, right? How do you know it's not like Kaido's never seen Enma without Oden until now, right? So what if it's like he's recognizing the same aura that he recognized when Oden was using the sword because it was Enma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's recognizing it as Oden's because that's who he's familiar with using it. You know what I mean? It could be what you're saying. I'm just saying that's also a possibility with the way that they've talked about swords throughout the series and the fact that Enma itself wasn't blackened by Oden. Like if it's gonna be his Haki was put into it so much so that it's his Haki that's being utilized when Zoro's using it, like wouldn't it have been blackened? You know what I mean? Like if it's Oden's Haki, how is it not a black blade? Right? If it's Enma's aura that Kaido mistakenly took for Oden's, you know what I mean? Like residue of Oden, but just because he has PTSD and that's the last time he recognized that blade in that light. I don't know. It could be. I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying there's other ways to look at that with the way that they've talked about swords throughout the series.
Let me just add. Caleb asked, Oda, not asked, but said Oda didn't explain how Enma works. Actually, Oda did explain how Enma works when Enma was shown to Zoro. Hitetsu, Tenguyama Hitetsu. He said Enma has a special ability to automatically exude the Haki of the user.
Right.
So that was like a very like quick line, but it like to me that just it tells me that the sword is special. I'm not saying the sword isn't special, right? It's like what you're saying in the RPG game, right? It has some kind of like unique ability that we haven't seen of any sword. And then when you go to Big Mom's line, it hits a little differently because she said the sword is special. The sword is different. She recognized something in the sword, and someone pointed out to me, it's like, you know, like in line with your Oden thing, maybe because she's a soul fruit user, she can sense like a soul in it or something. But even without that says that Zoro, all the Haki that we've seen from Enma so far is Zoro's. Now the thing is, in the manga, the way we first received it, it was like the sword's Haki was Zoro or Oden's, right? Like this Haki reminds me of Oden's. But what's interesting is that we had this conversation before the episode dropped. In the episodes, they're emphasizing not the sword so much; they're emphasizing Zoro. They're emphasizing Zoro and Oden. So like it's interesting because when I imagined reading it, it was like Kaido sees the sword and then he gets PTSD and sees Oden, right? Yeah. But what's happening is like it's focused on Zoro's face. They're emphasizing Zoro and then they're overlaying Oden on it, and they're making it look like Zoro's a spitting image of Oden, which doesn't make any sense. But like the way they animate, it's like, wait, how are you about to just make Zoro look like Oden right now? Like it looks like exactly like a spitting. It almost looks like Momo looks nothing like Oden. I mean, like honestly, they got switched at birth or something. Like
that's Whitebeard's kid, bro.
but so like, you know, it is the sword thing, but it's interesting because what you said, like there's no connection with Oden, but I'm thinking that Oda's setting it up that there's a relation with Zoro and the Kozuki.
Chill, you wildin', bro.
And we'll talk about the theory part of it because I told you I wanted to do the theory thing and see what you guys thought. But
what do y'all think?
I actually agree a little bit with both of you guys on two things. I bring up I do believe that the sword, you know, obviously they bring up the sword consumes a lot of Haki, and I do believe there's just some residue of Oden's Haki in it because again, I brought up to you guys, I didn't even realize it. Oden had that sword, Enma, both those swords, since he was a child, until he died. So I don't know how Oden's Haki when he was a kid or anything, if that was even consuming his Haki when he was a kid. But the fact is, he had it since he was a kid.
Apparently, he one-shot a bear at 4.
So I was since then, Oden, the sword's been feeding off Oden's Haki. But I do say that, but that's not the first time though that Kaido felt Oden's presence when he wasn't there. Remember, he felt it when the Skybirds attacked him. And there was no sword in Enma at all. So I was thinking of maybe Zoro unknowingly, or at that moment, was sharing the same will as Oden. Like, he felt Oden's will in a way. Like, when not saying he was Oden or it was the sword, just like they had a similar will, just like how the Scabbards had a similar will with Oden, that when the Scabbards are clearly not Oden. The Scabbards are not Oden. Like, Kaido even compared to them that you couldn't even open up my wound. But he just thought the fact that their will was that strong that compared it to Oden for that moment. But even though their will, Haki was weak, Zoro the same thing. Zoro, we don't even know fully Zoro's connection that much to Wano. We don't know. We don't know if he's related to Ryuma. We don't know. There's a lot of foreshadowing or indication that he has some connections with Wano. But the fact is that Zoro cut Kaido, and Kaido felt a semblance of Oden a little bit. Whether he's from the sword or Zoro's will. Apparently it was both. Because I think of the first time he cut him, he just sorry for spoilers at this point, if you didn't know, anime only, that Zoro only he's only cut Kaido. But the second time, and you could bring up, that was Oden's will or Oden's Haki. But the second time when Zoro cuts Kaido, it was all Zoro. It was like, you got King Disposition too. That's how we found out that Zoro has King Disposition. So it wasn't even on.
And that was Ashura that he used, bro. It's a technique he's had before.
But my point is,
when you said that just now, I just remembered if the cut in episode 1018 was as crazy as it was, now I'm like 1010, whatever, when Zoro does that cut, Kaido's gonna look like it's over. Oh my goodness.
But I was pretty much. Zoro even said with his fight with King, and give us more indication of what was Enma doing to Zoro. He said, if I keep on unleashing this Haki, unleashing out this King Disposition, this Boshoku Haki, it's going to kill me. And I was thinking of pretty much, it's like, pretty much think of Dragon Ball Z when that creature was coming out sucking out their ki, and then eventually it sucked up too much ki, and you could end up dying, or that thing took up too much ki. That thing exploded.
Goku exploded it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like Enma's in a way exerting out more Haki than Zoro wants to. Pretty much exerting, this is enough to fight King. But Enma's like, nah, I want you to put out more. So Zoro's actually putting out a lot more Haki than he wants to. So in a way, you could just say his attacks are a lot more powerful. Again, it's Zoro's Haki. It's his Haki alone. But it's putting out more than he needs to or wants to do it. So it's making his attacks a lot more powerful. Again, it's still Zoro's, it's just exerting out what's already from him, but more. And that's why he's saying, if I keep exerting this much, constantly exerting this much Haki, it's going to kill me because, I don't need this much Haki to be exerted out at this time. But you're making me do it. And so it's just, for me to conquer this blade, I have to do it. Because he even compared it. Oden's wearing this like a feather. We don't know if he was really doing it, but the fact is, Oden's wearing this since he was a child. Yeah. And he didn't show to our knowledge, he didn't show any type of difficulty wielding Enma. Zoro is. Zoro's worrying about dying. Oden's like, I've been carrying this since I was a child.
I just realized how messed up it is as a blacksmith to give Oden that sword as a kid.
I mean, he was real as a kid, bro.
Yeah, but that blacksmith just wanted him to die then.
He was a little shit.
He's like, you're a 4-year-old, here, have this sword that can just kill grown men, by holding it. That blacksmith needs to be put on watch.
Listen, bro. The way Oden was acting at that age, I ain't mad at him.
Wait, but the sword is at birth, right? So he didn't even one time.
I don't know if he got it at birth. That's wild. I don't know. Well, let Lord talk. I'm sorry. I talk a little bit.
So a lot of what I
did you just flex?
What? No.
So you told my boy Zolo, man. You was like, he had to flex a little bit.
Because I was looking at the screen up top, and I was like, why he flex like that?
He didn't flex at all.
You know if I flex.
It was like, Lawrence.
He said, you know if I flex.
the fucking cable would shatter. The glass would break. Just flex.
Okay, so it was like Lionel brought out a lot of good points that I was gonna bring out too with the scabbards and about the illustration about Zolo feeding the key, because to me that's a sense of how you conquer or turn the blade black.
Larry's bladder can't hold Enma.
Right? But there's 3 things I want to mention, right? Well, 2 things I want to add is we think of how he described, you mentioned about the sword. The sword is special, right? Mm-hmm. So no, we cannot deny that. But we think about it this way too, because he said it works something like a cursed blade, right? So with the cursed blade sword, we know like why is it cursed? I guess it like it takes something from the user or demands a lot from the user, like their life is putting your life in danger, you know. But this one it works a lot like it, but we see it's not a cursed blade sword because it's not really your life's in danger; it's consuming your haki, right? So just like what Lano brung out, it could be like that. For some reason that Zoro resembled Oden's will, or it could be like his will matched Oden's will. You know, because we all knew that Zoro was going to be a conqueror's user, right? So with that in mind, we know that people could be conquerors. Mm-hmm. They never said that, and haki resembles in living things, right? They never said inanimate objects, right? Yes, they could have like in a way a disposition of themselves, but they never said inanimate objects can have a will of their own. Right?
It's better if you talk and I'm in this chair. It's better for the screen.
I'm just over here.
I'll go back when Larry's done with his ladder stuff. Continue.
Right? So with that in mind, so I think of like for example, and also too, we know that, right, haki users, and that was something I got to, because I noticed this early on with Blackbeard, that haki users can identify other haki users. Right, and haki users can identify when haki is being used. And there's no interest in a show where someone like who doesn't know haki or doesn't have haki himself identifies that they're a haki user or that they're using haki. We've never seen that. You know, like for example, Blackbeard, before he showed it, identified that Luffy's haki got stronger, that he was a haki user in himself.
It was better for the screen.
So, right, so like for that example, and then even too, like even post time skip, we saw that Luffy identified Zoro, Sanji, and Law were all haki users, right? So then we're going back to Kaido. He identified that Zoro not only is a haki user, but it was evident from how he was fighting, but also he identified that he was a conqueror's user. Again, the show identifies that only other haki users can identify other haki users, and when they're using it. You know, how would someone who doesn't have that haki ability do that? It wouldn't make sense because they themselves are not a user, right? Because haki also allows you to sense someone's strength. Rayleigh was able to sense like a bunch of people on the island that Luffy was weaker than, like the animals. So showing that living things are able to carry haki, but never said anything about inanimate objects. But we also know that inanimate objects can absorb haki, right? So with the swords, how I view it, right, for Enma, I also like, for example, like could relate it to is similar like to a horse. You ever talk about there's wild horses out there, and like for example, they was talking about like you got to tame that horse, right? But also too, horses can resemble their masters or their parents or their owners. This personality, you know. So I think of like swords are kind of like wild horses that you have to tame. They kind of rebel against you. The stronger, pretty much, the more wild the horse or the stronger the sword is more like a wild horse that you have to tame. So Enma, right, it got used to the wildness of Oden, who lived free and did whatever he wanted, strong disposition from since like, I guess like birth or whatever, right? In fact, we don't see that many people with a wild disposition or a strong disposition like that from like birth or from a young age as Oden. Like even Luffy, he's one of the strongest haki users and strongest wills conquerors in the show. But we saw he was kind of like a crybaby in the beginning.
Luffy was fodder as a kid.
Yeah, exactly. Right? But Oden showed...
I was saying who is it, but like Oden was.
Yeah, right. But
none of the Yonkos were either. All the Yonkos grew up...
Shanks and Blackbeard might have been
all right, the Rock's Yonko.
Now, I'll tell you right now, Luffy was looking... Because like Ace, Shanks, Kaido, Oden were all... and
even Dofi was out
there.
Yeah,
all looking like monsters at a young age. Luffy just like, wah. Ace is like, yo, shut up. Like,
Luffy's out here punching himself with his own fruit. Like, who else did that?
I talk a lot about Katakuri. He was ready to fight, bro. He was about that action.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, like, with that wild disposition, like Oden showed from a young age, he's feeding that to his sword. So, anyway, like the sword, with a strong disposition already, right? Working as, like I said, as a disposition of his own, strong one. And he made it strong. So it could be the fact that he put his own, Blackbeard put his own will to that. So that makes that like, he got used to who was wielding it, right? So that could have helped shaped Enma to like, I'm acquiring this. I acquire this much haki to be used now because that's what my previous master was using, you know? And also could be like testing it because like, this is what it favored, you know? So like right now, like what I'm saying is like works as a curse blade lords for like cursed blade swords could work as like they're taking something from you, like your life, but this one's taking your haki, right? It's like, I want to be fed. Like, feed me haki, feed me this power, right? Just like Lionel brought out the illustration about like things that absorb energy, right? So, but this one, like how just like in Lionel brought out the situation about Goku could like blow it up, but in this way, swords they're not gonna break. They do is they get stronger through it, whereas they turn black. So now it's like I said, the horse, by turning a sword completely black, you tamed that horse, or you tamed that sword, as in now it respects you as its master. Just like we saw with Ryuma's blade became black. So now we saw that Ryuma's blade wasn't really fighting Zoro, but we did realize it would consume, like for example, when Zoro did a flying bait technique with all 3 swords, Ryuma's blade that consumed all the other flying bait techniques. Strong still had a strong disposition of his own, but it was already tamed, you know? So like, I acted like, for example, so going back to like the people who dealt with Zoro had conquerors that it wasn't his, going to like, right here we have evidence that Kaido pointed out because he's the one that sensed it from Zoro. He didn't sense it from the sword. You know, he says that you too are a conqueror. So those are my thoughts on that.
Why are you laughing?
They power stealing us.
What?
Yo, which order is the scale? Hello?
How you pass us?
Yo, bro, I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm listening to Lawrence, but like I'm also like taking tabs on like what's happening in chat.
So funny today.
And they're like power scaling us, and they're literally saying Lawrence is top. like it's top.
They
like
said Lawrence is the Kaido of the show. bro. Par, I don't even want to tell you where you ended up.
No, I saw. I was like, damn. This is how we know we're on your channel, not mine.
Listen, man.
yo, even Marv got into it, bro.
Marv scaled me top 1, bro.
Yo, I don't even understand, bro. Marv don't even know what hockey is, bro.
They base it on thickness. I don't know.
Thick.
And I just want to add last thing. This now what we're talking about. This is because it's like Kaido did is down for the count. Luffy is not stronger than Kaido. Like he's not. He won this fight. Because I mentioned it before too. That have you guys noticed? I mentioned it to Lionel and Sebastian that Kaido not once Haki hardened any of Luffy's attacks. So like he even
does he even know what it is? He has dragon scales. Like he's just out here like who needs Haki?
Like he didn't do that once. So imagine if like he did that during his fights. If he just fought really like really valuing someone that you are my opponent. Or like fighting someone that you are potentially stronger than me, you know? So if Kaido fought to like his full potential, the way he should fight, the way he could fight, like using
everything.
Yes.
Wait.
Conqueror's Future Sight and Haki Hardening, this dude could borderline be unbeatable.
Wait, one question. When you say Haki hardening, you mean Haki hardening his skin or Haki hardening his Harvard? Or
His
whatever?
skin to
Okay.
protect himself.
Okay.
Like how Doflamingo did.
Yeah.
Because he's using Rio with conquerors, that kind of thing. But like the samurais don't necessarily know armament. Right?
Yeah.
Like they haven't. They use their sword. They don't need armament because they have a sword, right? So they put their Haki into the sword, right? So that's the same thing with Kaido. Apparently, we've never seen him use armament, which it's like a weird thing because it's like he's not fighting a Logia, but like he has the weapons. So I guess that's how we're understanding it.
Because his thing is black, so that I understand. Like we can't tell if he's Haki hardening it, but his skin, you're right. Like he did not once Haki block. Don't Haki block his skin towards Luffy's attack. He like just you hitting me.
Not a shield, not Haki Harden, nothing. Like he just took the straight pictures base because he's like I can take this, you know?
Yeah. So there's 3 things I went. So actually. The first one's really quick because you're not gonna like this, but with the the Kaido coming back up, if we go with the Douglas bullet, the blueprint. Do you know how Luffy finds an opening again in Douglas bullet?
Ussop.
If that's the blueprint, Oda's setting up.
Yes.
Ussop has been not here at all, and then Kaido gets up, and then what? Ussop sets him up for something.
Funny. Morge dropped a whole video about how Ussop has to do something in his heart because he hasn't done anything yet.
And he didn't even put it in that context.
With that,
He didn't even put it in that context. That was so funny.
Next question.
So wait, what was that?
I was gonna
I
mention.
bug up like a while back with Lawrence and Sebastian a long time ago. I mean, not that long. That you know what happened? I'm thinking this might when going with Usopp thing. Remember when what's her name, Toki?
Yeah.
Toki, yeah.
Yeah, Toki.
Momo's sister.
Yeah, Momo's sister threw that nail, that Seastone nail.
Oh.
And
Hiyori.
Hiyori, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, Hiyori threw that Seastone nail at Orochi and stopped his ability. I think, Usopp's probably going to throw a Seastone nail and
Slingshot it.
his awakening off. And
Oh my god.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Man, yo.
As much as I ride Usopp,
Imagine
like,
you go
ain't no way.
awakening and freaking Usopp is not shit.
Ain't no way.
Slingshot reaction.
I just said that to get the reaction out of Leia. I'm glad I said that.
I'm with it. I'm so with it.
Oda's gonna do something with Usopp. I don't like, even though I'm an Usopp fan, I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. I don't know about a lot of these things. Like, even in the movie Stampede, like, Usopp had his solo moment where he stood up to Douglas Willis. That was cool. And then when the opening happened, I was like, all right, like, I don't know about that. And then, like, now we're talking about it with Kaido. I don't know about that. But so the other two things in line with the hockey stuff. So. Yeah. This will help me for my video, but do you guys think that, like, let's say, Dragon or Roger and Ace, right? They both have hockey, right? Do you think to a certain extent Ace's hockey resembles Roger's because they're, father son? Do you think that hereditary wise, like, you can recognize lineage like that through hockey? I think it would make sense, right?
I feel like you're trying to plant the seeds for a Zoro Oden thing here, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But yes.
It makes sense, right?
I agree that the hockey can resemble your father's. Chill with the Oden Zoro.
All right. That's not where I'm going with it. Yeah, that's not where I'm going with it. I'm not going with that on here. Don't worry about that, because I need more pieces together. But the other thing that I want to talk about, and this is the other part of the conversation, is Black Blades. What's interesting about Black Blades is, like, are we really gonna just think that it's just hockey being infused into the blade, and then, like, Oden had it for 39 years. We don't know how long he's had hockey, but presumably for, like, in his adolescence, he probably had hockey, right? Otherwise, Enma would have killed him, right? So he probably had hockey in that thing for, let's just say, 20 years. Oden level hockey. This sword did not turn black. Neither of his swords turned black. So is it just hockey being infused in it? And the interesting thing is, I forget what chapter it was. When Zoro is fighting Onimaru, Onimaru was saying, like the monk guy, the fox monk thing, he was saying, like, Shusui was turned into a black blade over years of fighting, right? And then what's interesting is Zoro had a line, it's like, wait, he forged a black blade? How do you, does that mean? And then he already actually cut him off, and he didn't get the finish. We don't actually know what black blades are. We, like, from Mihawk, it's like we kind of get an understanding black blades don't break. We get an understanding, like, the functionality of the black blades. Anything could be a black blade, right? That's what he says, but we don't know how it's made. And it's like, it feels like it's just hockey, but then when you take Oden into perspective, it's like, of all the people that we know, he should have had a black blade, right? Also, like, Whitebeard's thing is not a black blade, but if anything could be a weapon, how come his thing's not a black blade, right? Roger's thing should be a black blade too, right?
So you think there's a deeper level you have to go, like an additional task that you have to complete?
So what it feels like, right, and this is what I'm getting at, is like black blades, when you think about power-ups in One Piece, it's actually the most exclusive power-up. There's only two that we know of, right? Yep. Shusui and a Mihawk sword, right? And so what's interesting about that is, like, Zoro only experienced, like, he had Shusui. Actually, wow, it's kind of crazy. 2 black blades, all, like, the only 2 were all in one place. But besides that, Mihawk has the black blade, right?
They've all touched Zoro.
They all, well, yeah, I guess they have. Wait, actually, no, the big one didn't touch Zoro, did he? Oh, no, he did cut him with that.
Zoro's such a hoe.
What?
But so now you gotta ask yourself, besides Mihawk, the only person we know that made a black blade is Ryuma, and we don't know if Ryuma's black blade was black when he was alive, because from what Onimaru said, it was like it was forged afterwards and then it stayed and there's the treasure, right? So it makes sense to me that the Shusui turned black after Ryuma died.
I have 2 things to say.
What?
Hold on. I have 2 things to say. One, we should probably be looking at swords, well, graded swords, as Jinchurikis. Like, whoever takes over the sword has a Jinchuriki relationship with their sword based on their personalities.
Wouldn't it be more accurate to say Bankai?
I was going to say that too. But
It could be, but it sounds, since they have a personality, it sounds like you have to make some sort of like connection to the sword in order to bring out the utmost of that sword, in a way. If that makes sense. The same way Naruto did with Kurama. 2, Zoro not turning any sword black, bro.
You crazy.
That's the worst take you've ever had.
Yeah.
Listen,
wow.
he don't like anything black. Alright? So we know why he gave up Shisui, you know what I'm saying? Why did he give up Shisui, bro?
He fights with his sword.
Yo, why
turned
he
black.
give up Shisui, though? He was like, yo, I don't want this black blade in my collection, bro.
You don't think he wants to dominate them?
Yep.
What? I can't dominate with a white blade?
I can't.
Come on, bro.
We made that joke in the Discord. I feel like one of you guys responded like, ain't no way there's gonna be a white blade. I think you responded to that.
I mean, white.
Listen. Hold on. Listen. Hold on. This goes in. You listen. Yo, listen. Anybody that's out there, ParVision borderlines on One Piece madness all the time, but he doesn't never dip over. What I will say is, if there is the Mihawk being a sword was.
Yo, I was gonna make that video commemorated for the episode.
Hold on. Let me make this.
There's new evidence.
If new evidence supports that Luffy is dipping into a new form of Haki, which is the highest plane of Haki, and it's white, then I can probably see that Zoro is tapping into the Haki realm of having a white blade, and he'd have the first white blade. Straight up.
That would be interesting.
But, yeah.
White blade. The sword god could not bring out a white blade. Mm-hmm. Dang. Well, then what does that?
You
what would
said
that
he
make
couldn't
Zoro?
blacken his sword until he died, so I don't know how that.
What I'm saying is that death is what brings out the black blade. That's
Death is
what I'm
always
saying.
the answer, bro.
That's what I'm saying. And then that makes it interesting with Mihawk, is all I'm saying. Because then it's like, who died for that sword? And we only know 2. And then the reason why Oden's sword didn't blacken is because
Listen, man, Zoro ain't beat nobody, dog. Alright? Who he take the title from? Nobody.
Title of what?
Alright? The strongest swordsman. Who's
Who's calling him that?
Who he fought? Nobody.
Who's calling him
Alright?
that,
He
bro?
legit just fought.
Name the
Talking
other strongest
about-
swordsman. We don't know.
Yo, Vista.
Yo, Marv don't like you slamming on his table like that.
Marvin's like, yo, chill out. You ain't got headphones. Bro, relax.
Well, very drunk.
But so Oden didn't blacken his blades because he gave away his blades right before he died. Imagine if he had his blades as he died and he died with them. Then I think it would blacken. I think that's why they didn't blacken. Because it just doesn't make sense.
Yo, real talk. If he ain't meet Toki, he would have blackened his blades, bro.
Yo,
Women make you weaker.
Hold up.
Take that into your
hold
life
on.
advice. Women make you weaker.
Let me
Marv,
get this off.
I know you over
Stop
there
it.
seeing what I'm saying.
Stop it. Anyway,
Women make you weaker. Don't fall for your Toki.
This all
Keep
reminds
pursuing
me.
your dreams, bro.
This all reminds me.
Alright?
Before we let the twins go, we did get a missed super chat from Oz D Phenom. Oz, I ain't forget. It's a $5 super chat. It says, I guess the blacksmith's wife got clapped by Oden, and that's why he gave him Enma, because he was hating.
Oh, you were in the bathroom when I said that.
I can't.
Oh, man. I forgot to get that out. But I got you, Oz. My fault.
Yeah, y'all tripping, y'all stupid. But what I will say this: the reason I believe Ryuma did forge his blades black, right? Because that's how I understood it, and the reason why Oda didn't forge his blades back, 5 years. Remember
the
that?
dancing?
The 5 years he's not fighting, he's not in ruin.
Yo, but he spent 7 years on 5, I think. No, 6 years, 5 years with Whitebeard. Mm-hmm. We don't know where they went. 4 years?
4 years.
4 years, and the one with Roger.
Yeah.
So that's with the Pirate King and the strongest man. He probably, and then he fought Roger too. Like, how many fights did they have?
All the fights.
I feel you, and that doesn't make sense because
the
the
sword episode,
reason why
man.
I'm adding up. I mean, you could argue it where
We gotta stop saying that he's the strongest man, bro.
who.
Whitebeard. Because we knew Roger was stronger than him. Alright?
Well,
The strongest pirate, bro.
We hear him call that until after Roger
Yeah,
was
but poor
dead.
guys made
Yeah.
it.
No.
They didn't call him that when he was when Roger
Listen,
was alive,
man.
did they?
Whitebeard fraudulent.
What proof you got?
But
Everything, bro.
so what I was gonna say is like, for example, right, with Ryuma, because he was talking about like, for example, when I was reading it, they talked about Ryuma in Wano, right, and they said that by himself he was protecting Wano or taking on the onslaught of like nobles, pirates, because you have Wano where this famous swordsman is there and the City of Gold. And it said Ryuma stood alone fighting all that. And through that, he forged his blade black. You know, so I guess day after day, life and death fights, he did that, right? Because that's the reason why is like when Ryuma, because that's when he reached the Blade God, right? His title.
No, the Blade God thing came after he died.
Okay, so after
I'm
he
pretty
died.
sure.
Yeah. So what I mean is like, for example, how I was talking to Lionel about it, but before that, he was already known as King, right? The King of Swordsmen, right? So you could kind of relate that to the world's greatest swordsman or whatever. But by that time, Ryuma's blade was not black, right?
Yeah.
So Lionel could argue that he didn't have Shisui at that time, but maybe he did. But either way, if you read Wanted, his sword wasn't black at that time, but he already had the title of king, right? So you could argue the same, like pretty much he reached like Oden status at that time, but it actually takes more than that to blacken your blade. Because I thought it was interesting, like through who he was fighting, right? Because I was thinking about right here, you know how the One Piece world works, where like if you have a world famous like king wise, like samurai, who's not gonna want to challenge him? Like Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, but you have Ryuma, right? But not only that. You have that famous samurai, but in the world, a country where the city of gold. So now you have two draws to this place. And you know that, like for example, the Gold Roger pirates, when they became Pirate King, they said that everyone's going to target them. So now you have a country and being guarded by this famous samurai. And so it said it had pirates and nobles, so that's military might all over targeting this place. You know, so I'm thinking through this. Ryuma's, and he's standing alone by himself. How much will he had to get stronger in fighting that? You know, so I'm thinking through this all. It could be where he died, but like I was talking about the Mihawk, his blade is black, right? So it's like there is interesting thing there, but I think he forged it. Me personally, I think he forged it while he was alive through this nonstop fighting. Right, where Oden, since he took off those 5 years, where he probably could have did it. If he was, like, for example, if he stayed with Whitebeard or Roger, continued to fight, or just even on Wano, just continued fighting, he could have forged it, because the way you conquer it is the sword, especially a stronger sword in this position, is that you have to keep forcing your will into, or at least feeding it to conquer it. You know, that's my thought on it.
I just want to say, y'all really think Lawrence is the strongest willpower here, bro? y'all put Lawrence first, bro. This is what I'm reading, bro. This is what Lawrence is saying, bro.
Lawrence said stop picking up the phone.
My bad, bro. But like, is it the glasses? Has to be the glasses, right?
I think it's because Lawrence is sipping on that juice too, and he good, and you not.
I am good.
It's just because I have a strong disposition, man.
It's because he took the shirt off, bro. You can see the muscles, man. That's what it is.
Nah, he trying to compete with Par. No, you can't win. You can't win. I got money on Par, bro.
Oh man. All right, next question, y'all.
Yeah, next question.
Did we ever get to any of our questions?
We only got to like 3 questions.
Yeah, I derailed it.
We need like a 5-hour podcast. Realistically. That's what it would take.
Yeah, hit me up with your questions. Because I have my theory thing, and it was actually a great segue from what he talked about.
Don't bring that question out, bro.
I'm going to let the twins go first, bro.
I guess I'll bring up mine. One of them I bring up, remember pretty much the Lost flashback with the white town and the white lad and stuff? And this actually might lead, I don't know if Lawrence is going to bring it up because he had a good question. But I was going to bring up pretty much, it says, I'm going to skip a little bit. I'm just going to go into the main point. Talking about the white meadow, the white lad, this is they said even the greedy world government got into the trade and ferry around their products. The white lead was a bottomless well of money. So the fact I'm focusing on the world government got their greedy hands on it. And I was thinking of, I don't know if you fully remember the white story of law, but pretty much they calculated the white lead. And I'm trying to think of, and they said that the other stuff they used for it was for cosmetic sweeteners, and they brought out even weapons for the white lead. And I was thinking of, and they've been doing this for, they never specified when the world government or the Marines got involved with the white lead, but I was thinking of, and the fact that the Marines got their hands on some of it, and I thought of weapons. What weapon do you think the world government might be making? Because I actually thought of the SSG, the new the new pacifista that are placed in Shichibukai, they're gonna use that with the white lead.
You think they're just gonna poison everybody with the white?
I don't know.
Why not? That is interesting. I did want to point out that the newer pacifistas are white, right?
That was in the
know.
Z movie, and I don't think they were the regular. I mean, the new pacifistas, because Frankie took them out on like one attack, and that can't be replacing the Shichibukai. So, and I think that was just for the movie. But yeah, but I thought of that. I'm thinking of like, yo, that's what like weapons wise, like world government. You know, they're always trying to get their hands on an ancient weapon or a devil fruit or something that win war in their favor. So I'm thinking of, do you think they're trying to weaponize the white lead? Because they got some of it and destroyed this town. So I'm trying to think, what do you guys think on it?
Yo, actually, I recently looked up the white lead stuff because it's weird because it turns you white and like Sun God Nika like turns you white, and I was just like, where's the connection? But like all these people are dying, so then it's like I don't know what that does, and it's that whole thing was like, why did Oda introduce that? Like it has to, doesn't it come back?
Was Caesar? You remember when Caesar created the gas, and it was supposed to eliminate like the Ming tribe and stuff like that? Was that for sale? If I remember correctly, I don't remember what Caesar. Caesar
was
had
trying
a
to
lot of
sell
exposition, but we never really.
Caesar's just out here trying to get the bag.
He was trying to get that bag, bro.
Yeah, right.
Anything. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
100%.
Yeah, I didn't know
Anything
exactly
that
what he
could
was
kill
selling.
someone, he's selling it. That's Caesar.
All about money
Yeah.
and death.
That was perfectly timed.
So wait, what's your take on it?
I can see it. I mean, Oda doesn't just write things in for no reason. I don't think we're going back or revisiting the white lead too much. I think it was just to make Law's backstory that much more depressing.
Law can cure it, right?
Yeah,
Law
he cured his own, which I still don't know how he did that. But whatever.
But like, wait, wait, hold on. Did Law just cure himself and he didn't go back and save everybody?
Who was there to save? They all died.
Everybody died?
Yeah.
There's actually
Yes.
one.
Oh.
Yo, there's one though. I was talking to Lawrence.
No, Lionel,
Who
stop.
lived?
No, they showed everybody's dead. They showed Larry. I said Larry.
Lamy.
They showed
no,
yeah.
Larry.
The only person they didn't see actually dead as a body was Law's sister.
Oh,
Like
no.
the hospital. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
It burnt down.
Yeah, the hospital was burnt. Like, the building was burnt. But you see Law's parents dead, like, by the gunshots. And you see sister, the person who's taking care of Law, and the other kids. The only body you don't actually see is Lamy. I'm just saying. What?
If we can't even get deaths in flashbacks now,
What? You had a whole nation?
I'm no. Okay?
Yo,
Okay?
she's the
No.
SSG now.
She was a little girl. Oda wasn't gonna on-panel her death like that.
He had
Okay?
a whole, like, I get you.
He didn't do Queen either, right?
But I
Yeah,
get you,
bro.
but he had a whole, that whole village or town, whatever, all dead with kids. Like, that they showed that.
Yo, I feel you. I'm not trying to see no flashback. Like, Sabo already did this, bro.
Yeah.
We gonna do it again? We gonna do it again?
No, she's in the
with
revolution.
Law's
She's the
sister?
third in command.
That's what Lionel was trying to
Yo,
say.
no way.
It's not her.
That's not
Okay.
her. We did the
The
math.
age
We
doesn't-
did the
the
math.
age
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Bello Betty? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
No.
Yo, but in terms of the white lead coming back, like when I went back, I was like, this is kind of a waste to just leave there, right? Like you said, that the world government was kind of hoarding it, and it's like, what did they do with it? We haven't seen any use of it outside of that place,
Well, it was
right?
always supposed to be rare. Like, that was supposed to be a key. Like, we're not supposed to see.
Yeah, but they made it illegal, right? I mean, they didn't make it illegal at first because they were just
Honestly,
evil.
bro. Honestly, if we scan back all 1,000 whatever chapters, there's probably a nod to it somewhere.
I mean,
That's the kind
the
of
closest
right
nod thing to it is Sun God Nika because he just goes full white. Who knows? And then we saw the aftermath of after
Oh
that
my
white
God.
wears off.
Now
I
we're
don't know.
getting the Lamy theories in the chat. I can't, bro. Y'all gotta no. Oh man, Lawrence, you had a question?
Oh,
Yeah.
we done with that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna ask it, but then I may explain something before you guys go, right? Because I was just curious about it. What do y'all think is Blackbeard's dream? Right? The reason why I'm asking this because he's like like Luffy, right? But like I noticed that Blackbeard heavily believes in dreams, maybe even more so than Luffy, because he's supposed to be like, you know, not really the exact opposite of Luffy, but he's supposed to be similar to Luffy. But he also mentions that what the new age that they're talking about is full of crap. He says pirates' dreams never die. You know, he says you cannot take that away. Like, so with that, and I think there was more to that statement, but I forgot to write it down. But like he's talking about, and then he starts laughing. They never die. But then the reason I'm asking this is because Blackbeard, you see the way he's doing things is very goal oriented, right? From the, I don't know what happened in his childhood, but he was just like, in his mind it was like, I'm going to get the Yami Yami, the Darkness fruit. How do I do this? Whitebeard's crew. He's most of my biggest chances of getting that, right? Yeah. And then after he gets the Yami Yami, right? Even to like kill someone he would probably maybe call a friend, right? And betray, I mean, calling the strongest person in the world at this time against him, right? That because he knows you touch his Nakama, it's over, right? Yeah. But even after that, Blackbeard's goal is to build the strongest crew. Right, like he wants only stronger because we saw he got the Shinchibukai title. But like even like I'm like I need the Shinchibukai title, and then he gets that and he goes, all right, I need strong people. They're the ones I want are an Eppo down. So he goes to Eppo down and goes has a little tournament. Only the strongest.
Not just that though. Yeah. He sets it up with the war to clear out Impel Down to then go. Like he's literally like Lelouch. Like
exactly.
He doesn't look like it, but his plans are insane.
Yeah.
Think about it.
So I'm thinking like very goal oriented. Like he has something in mind because like now too like right. So like he wants the strongest of the strongest there right to all compete and then takes him as his crew. Then not only that now we see him, he wants even special abilities. So he's hunting only taking certain abilities with him. Right, for his crew. And then now also to not only that, he's gaining a bunch of money, influence, and weapons. So he's building something, right? He's very goal-oriented what he's trying to do, and he's doing a lot to fruition whatever dream he has. So he believes in dreams even maybe more so than Luffy, and very goal-oriented in what he's trying to scheme to do. I'm thinking, what is your dream? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Because a lot of it centered that he needs power. Because even two abilities. So he wants this crazy. Because whatever accomplishments we just know that he needs in a war or wants a lot of power to accomplish whatever his dream is. 2 abilities, the highest abilities and the strongest crew to match it with money, power, and influence. You know, and he's never said he wanted to become Pirate King. Like that's never said that. People assume that you're pirate, you want to become, but like Whitebeard didn't want to become Pirate King. Shanks doesn't really care to become Pirate King. Not everyone says that. Usually the new age, but like, so what is Blackbeard's dream? Like, especially someone who's pushing it this forward. So I thought that was interesting on his part.
It's ironic too because apparently Blackbeard doesn't sleep. So
I was gonna say that.
So
he doesn't have a dream.
The man with dreams can't dream, and so it's an interesting thing because like you almost it feels like he wants to rule the world, but it also doesn't feel like that either because it's like. If that were the case, right, like he took over Whitebeard's territories, right, but we haven't seen what he's done with that. We don't know what kind of world he would create because we've seen all the other Yonkos, right? We've seen Kaidos, we've seen Big Moms, and it, from a base level, it almost seemed like Blackbeard would kind of want what Kaido wants, right? But that doesn't make sense for Oda to create Blackbeard as a separate character to do all these things and then for it to just be the same thing as Kaido. Because Kaido is essentially like pure pirate, right? You know what I mean? Like when you think about it. And then Blackbeard is kind of that too, where it's just like, I'll do anything for he's on Pirate Island, right? Like he should be the embodiment of pirates. So then if Kaido's more of like the pirate dream of like everyone fend for themselves, strongest survive, that kind of thing, then it again, like the Blackbeard part is a little interesting because it's like, it's almost like, he's going for the wealth and fame, but then he's also going for the power. And it's like, but then the other thing is a lot of people don't, they're like, oh, he's going to whole cake for the poneglyphs, right? And I respond to them like, when has he ever gone for a poneglyph? He's never mentioned a poneglyph. He's never gone to an island where there's a poneglyph. So it doesn't make sense. Like, not that it doesn't make sense for him to go to Whole Cake Island, but people are like, oh, he's going there for a poneglyph. It's like, he's never cared about that. He's never even mentioned ancient weapons. He's never done anything like that. All he's done is like everything that he's done has been planned out by himself, right? So and for the most part he's just hunting fruits, and it's to me it's almost like he just wants to be like a god. Like I think that's the closest thing that I can think of. Like, he just wants to be like, maybe he wants to be an ancient weapon. I don't know. Like, because like when you think about it, he has the most dangerous power and the strongest power, the power to destroy the world or whatever. And it's like, you know, those aren't exactly the powers I would choose if I was going for devil fruits. So it's weird.
If I had to guess, I mean, I think it does go beyond Pirate King, because he's technically, like Wano's pointed out a couple times, he's never said that was his goal, to become Pirate King. So it should be something that includes that or entails that, but it's beyond that. But I try to go with what they say. Blackbeard said that it's his age, right? So he wants this age to be identified as his. So for that, I think that means like he just wants to be at the top. Whether that means king of the world, whether it means Pirate King, I don't think it matters so much like what it is ultimately for him. He just wants to be recognized as the top of this world. One
of the weirdest examples of Blackbeard is like he was with Jewelry Bonnie and he wanted her as a wife or whatever, right? And he wants powerful fruits, and she has a powerful, and he can steal powers. We know by that point, and it's like, why did he just why didn't he just kill her? Why didn't he do anything?
He's willing to make business decisions. Like he was like, okay, we'll trade her for this ship, right?
Yeah, but at that point.
Oh yeah. When do we want to do calls, Larry?
After this topic.
Okay.
That's a good question, because I'm thinking of, how does Blackbeard know that Julie Bonnie is valuable to the Marines and where we're going?
He knows where her...
No, how does he know? How do you know that she will be a good trading bargain? Like, Ace is understandable.
Maybe her bounty is the equivalent of a ship.
So I have this thought process that I've always had, that in general, if your bounty's over 100 million, they view you as like valuable in that light. Like they basically, Blackbeard's whole thing when he was trying to get somebody to turn in for to become Chichibukai was to get somebody whose bounty was over 100 million, right? Luffy's happened to be that, you know what I mean? At that time, it was perfect. He also beat Crocodile, was perfect. But like, the goal was to get a bounty that was over 100 million. At that point in time, $100 million was a lot. Clearly, it's not now.
But bro's looking for like startup money, like
running around. I was mostly going by what he traded her for. Remember?
A Marine battleship.
Yeah. Like,
well, he needed a ship, bro.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, why would you think that the Marines would, for her, that's what I'm thinking, like, he probably knew something, because, like, for Shichibukai, that's understandable, like, you know, because they already have that. No Marine are giving out battleships to pirates. Like, that does not happen. So I'm thinking of, for you to just give this random rookie over to us and we're going to give you a battleship?
Bro, how much are battleships? Huh? How much are battleships?
Bro, you trying to tell
probably
me?
Probably not $100 million worth.
I mean,
a Marine battleship?
Actually, yeah, no.
They're like,
because 300 million was for the Going Merry, right? Like that was even too expensive for that.
Yeah.
No, 30, wow. Now we're getting the business.
Right, we gotta get the calls. But what I mean
30 million.
They met.
No, was it 30? No, it's 300.
We're talking about Sunny.
Okay.
We're talking about mass-produced battleships. They're cookie cutter. They just build them like they're
whoa. Blackbeard want the Bugatti.
He wanted the ship.
They can slay the Cranbell, bro.
What the Sunny can do and what the average Marine battleship can do are completely.
Yo, it's the navigator and the helmsman.
They gotta be quality, bro.
Yeah.
They're fighting these
quality,
ships.
You
bro.
put
how many Marine battleships have we seen get destroyed, bro?
You put Nami and Jinbei on any of the ships, they're fucking a Ferrari.
Stop it.
They're like... Yo, Jinbei's out here surfing the Sunny through a thing. I bet you he could do that with the warship.
Jinbei specifically said you need a great ship to do this. I wouldn't be able to do this with some trash ship.
Fair.
Anyway, we did get another $2 super chat from Ozzy Phenom. It says, Larry's zoning out. He drunk, y'all. Oh, man.
We need some milk.
Yeah, we need to get to my question, man. But whatever.
Larry didn't want you to ask.
I wasn't gonna ask that. I had a different question. I'll ask it next time. Marv, drop the call number in the chat. Yo, you good? Alright, I'm gonna ask my question then, bro.
Yo, take the calls.
Yeah, Marv, drop the call number in the chat. Please call in. Who's gonna be the one answering the call? Par, answer the call.
Oh, okay, I'm answering. All right,
we got a call.
I forgot what to say.
I don't hear the thing. Oh, they're on? Hello, this is that One Piece talk. How are you? And what's your question?
And who are you?
Yeah.
This is Larry from that One Piece talk. How are you and who are you?
See, this is why we need Larry sober.
Hey.
That's gotta be Aaron, bro.
Yeah, Aaron. It sounds like him.
What's up with y'all? So I got a pretty light question for y'all this week. I just wanted to know, when did you guys realize that Ussop was black?
Early, super early, bro. Super early. It was one of the reasons why I liked One Piece to start. I was like, oh, they have black characters. Like, that was like a thing. I was like, yo,
One of
these
the
other
main characters,
animes.
too.
Yeah, like the other animes, you gotta wait super late into the series to see some black people. That's why I like Bleach early, too, because, like, they had some black guys in there. And I was like, Ussop kind of sucks to be representing, like, the black community.
I know. He's horrible. He's a coward. And
Mr. One, too. Mr. One was cool.
Aokichi definitely black.
Aokichi was, like, dominant, though.
Yeah. But also, what threw me off was Ussop was that nose. What kind of black person has a nose like that?
He was mixed. His mom was...
No black people have a nose like that.
Yeah, I was like, what?
His mom wasn't black.
Yeah.
She had a nose.
But when Yasa popped up with the dreads...
Yeah,
100%.
it was like,
Come on,
easy.
man.
Yeah. I realized super early, I think. Again, like, I think seeing melanin, it was just like, as a kid, I was like, hey, yo, there's a dude.
They did better than Dragon Ball Z with Mr.
Bro.
Popo.
Oh my goodness. Yo, I felt more connected to Piccolo. Like, let's be honest.
The Namekians went through a lot, but Mr. Popo was real offensive.
Yo,
bro.
I don't even know.
I couldn't even correlate that when I was a kid. But like when you get older, you're like, yo,
he wasn't even supposed, like, he had like Indian ties, like his whole persona, but then the way it was portrayed is like, all right, let's chill out with this.
Call me.
And Aaron, when for you? When did you realize Ussop was
I took the call. I was Larry.
So honestly, like, I didn't find out until they announced the live action and then announced who they cast for Ussop. And when I saw that he was a black guy, I was like, wait, Usopp's black? Like, because to be honest, I used to be on anime only with One Piece, and Usopp's complexion pretty much resembles everybody else in the series. So he must be mixed or light skinned, because I honestly couldn't tell, just because, you know, his complexion was so similar to the rest of the crew. So it wasn't really until they announced the cast for the live action that I realized, oh, he's actually black. So.
What those it off too, I guess, because
Especially if you're a manga reader too.
Yeah. And because it's just a diverse, you know, group. Because like Zoro's, even though he's Japanese, he's pretty dark. Robin's also pretty dark, and Luffy.
She was dark. They
lightened her up. Like, they made her mad.
Yeah, they Michael Jacksoned her.
Yeah. Pretty much. And Luffy was kind of like, because Luffy's not white. He's supposed to be Brazilian. You know, so he kind of borders on they made, again, they kind of paled him up a little bit too, because Luffy was a little bit darker, you know. But so it's like, I guess you said, so matching with Usopp with those ones, they all kind of looked, you know, the same. They didn't like they're just some tanned white people looking.
For y'all in the chat saying Captain Morgan black, look at his son. And you tell me that man is black.
I had to think real quick. I was like, who? Captain Morgan?
Especially when you compare Usopp to the other black characters in the series, it's like, oh yeah, there's no way Usopp is black. Like, he's at most he's got to be mixed.
Yeah. I feel like I knew he was black.
Yeah, I mean, at least the other characters got good like Mr. One was dope, right? Like,
yeah.
Like,
well, for the most part, they'd be cool. Zoro would just be beating them, and it'd be like, what's going on? You feel me?
And what's his name? That guy on Skype with the shades?
Yeah. There was that one chick in Whiskey Peak.
Oh,
Zoro body.
But that was practically a man.
That's when the meme started.
And the guy with the bombs for burgers.
Oh, he was nasty though.
Mr. 5, bro.
He was dirty.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard about the Zoro thing, you know, like the thing about, you know, his you know, his trend, right? I was like, nah. But then when they pulled out the Whiskey Peak chick, I was like, oh no, they're right.
There's so many,
God.
bro. It's so many.
Yeah, it's like they went that far back, and then everything filled in. I was like, oh shit, Zoro's a cop. Like,
Zoro's a cop. It was a lot, man.
That's funny that you say cop, because they said that Zoro, if he was in real life, he would
be a cop.
Aaron, man, don't question, man. Appreciate you calling every week, bro. For real.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys a lot. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
I'm pretty sure Blackbeard's black, right?
Yo, let me get my question in real quick. What I sent y'all the. Never mind. Hello, this is that One Piece Talk. Who are you and how are you?
Yo, finally. Hi, my name is Pablo Venegas. We've spoken before on TikTok. I'm Scythe D Messiah.
Oh, this is Scythe.
And,
what's up, man?
Yeah, hi, you guys. How's everything? My bad.
What's up, man? I like the energy.
Yeah. All right, so I've had this. I mean, if you guys know my account, I'm mostly One Piece. There's no other anime better. You know this. But I have a really big question for you guys. So, do you guys think that Blackbeard, because you guys talked about him, do you guys think that he's the moon god?
You do that.
What you mean? Oh.
I mean, let me point two things.
Okay.
Let me just point two things. All right. One thing. Moon, of course, darkness. That's when it pops up. And then also, a moon also has the power to create earthquakes by water. So we know that Luffy's sun god from the chapters recently. So in theory, Blackbeard being the opposite person of Luffy, wouldn't that low-key make sense?
It would. I'm just not a huge fan of like other people secretly being these like ancient gods of the world. But we can totally I can definitely see it where Oda writes it to be that all along. Like it was that. And like Blackbeard not sleeping, like you said, the earthquake thing with him, moving and creating tidal waves, like the darkness like there's a lot there that I could say I see it and I see the vision. I'm just not a fan of it. You know what I mean?
For me, it's the part for me is, well, there's two things. Actually, one thing that came up with the recent chapter, but like when you think about opposites, the moon isn't exactly the opposite of the sun. Like when you think about like a sun's life cycle, the actual opposite would be a black hole, because sun puts out energy, black hole eats up all energy, right? So when you think about the moon's only there, like if there were no sun, like there are solar systems with only black holes and there are moons there, the moons don't light up. Why? Because the moon is only lit up because of the sun. So in that regard, the moon is like synergistic with the sun. The moon relies on the sun's energy. Well, so now I think the thing with Toki's quote, "You are the moon, unaware of the dawn," right? So in that context, when you go back, it's like, who is she talking to, right? In the verse, there's someone who Oda is essentially equating to as the moon. And so when you think about that, the moon in this regard, and this is in my video, is that the moon is Kaido, because Kaido thinks he's Joy Boy, wants to be Joy Boy. In the darkness of the night, he's illuminating everything, but that's because he's unaware of the dawn that's coming. And when the dawn comes,
you're right.
The moon is like when the sun rises, where's the moon go, right?
I'm out here dropping jewels, bro. I love it.
So
no, you're right, but remember, you bring that the sun shines the moon. Do you remember the first time Luffy ever hit Blackbeard? The scene, he shined up Blackbeard with the fire punch. And that would be the first time ever that we ever see true shining with Luffy's punches. Ever. If you go back in time, that's literally the only time that it has that fire effect.
No, he didn't use Red Hawk.
So that theory that you just made, it could, remember, Ichiro works in many ways. 20 years of lying to us. 20 years of giving us the juiciness we all know. So in my opinion, you stating that state, Kaido could be a good moon person, but then it goes back, who is the opposite of Luffy? True from the beginning, since we've seen it. It's Blackbeard. But again, any theory works. I mean, we're talking about Ichiro Oda. This man can literally change his whole chat. He can change his whole story within seconds. So
Yo, Cypher, I would say check out on my channel. I have a Void. I just renamed it. It's called Void Century. I would check that out because that might help give up the true opposite. And the name is in. It's been even before Nika has been. Because in my mind, Nika has been foreshadowed since Thriller Bark, like in the concept of it, but ever since Sabaody, Nika has been. Like the name, like the smile, Nika, that's in Sabaody. Like actually, the era of the smile was said there. there, right? So in that regard, the opposite voids century. Void is the opposite of the sun. So I that's a little bit of a leak, but I would check out that video because I think you'd really be interested in it.
Scythe, man.
No, yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Cool.
But yo, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna call in next week.
For sure.
Appreciate the love, and let's keep on doing this, man. You guys are doing shit that no one does, and that's what we need in life. Confidence about anime, about a show that gives life and gives us happiness.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Lorel.
Thank you.
Oh man, we got a couple super chats that came in. I want to take them real quick before we take another call.
Skip Larry's.
We got a $5 super chat from Mosh. Mosh, thank you so much. It says, "Hey, this is too late. One day fire." Oh man, we got another call coming in.
Yo, one of you guys
Hello,
gotta ask about my theory. One of the comments.
This is that One Piece talk. Who are you and how are you?
Yo, it's Jeverse.
Hey, Jeverse, the boy.
So I just wanted to know if you guys heard about the theory that Yamato's mom is Gloria from Amazon Lily.
Oh, I've heard of that.
What?
Wait,
the old
lady.
What's the basis for it?
Well, I mean, she said she came off of she was also. I mean, all the Amazon people have to go off the island to procreate or whatever. But she was the princess before that. Did what Boa did.
Her hair is white.
Fell in love.
Yeah.
Wait,
and then,
is there not more?
Like the Amazons, the Amazons are like attracted to power. Like who's the strongest guy around? It's Kaido.
I've never heard this, but
I've never heard this either.
I don't want to say I'm with it, but I am with it.
Is there more to the theory that I don't know?
My biggest problem with the theory is the size difference. That's
Tontadas and Big Mom, bro.
That's my biggest problem, bro.
You realize they shrink. Yeah, they shrink.
Bro.
Big Mom has Tontada kids, bro.
Yo, it's easier. Let me not.
Stop. No, because like for example, what's his name? The guy from Wano. The
Hiroguro.
Yeah, Hiroguro.
I mean, even Oden and Toki. Oden and Toki's kind of. Oden's huge, and Toki's
Oh my gosh, bro.
I mean, Whitebeard is actually Weevil's dad. There's him and that other little girl.
They shrink.
Whitebeard is not Weevil's father.
We don't know that.
That was another question.
We don't know that.
I have no comment on that.
Jay, you believe it though?
I do.
Okay.
There's not much to the theory, but even though there's not much, it could make sense.
It makes sense.
Jay believes anything.
I can't.
That is true though. Jay be believing too much.
You guys don't believe enough.
It's
possible. Yo, I believe. I'm with you.
Par believe in anything too, bro.
I can make it make sense.
Par, drop the theory video.
Oh, is that? Oh, on this?
On this.
All right.
I need the connections, bro. There's
First
more.
the Mihawk one, then this.
There's more, bro. Jay, man, appreciate the call.
Jay, hang on.
We got another super chat from Debito Inc. It says, talking about diversity, it's really nice seeing a group of both bald and haired full men bonding together by the simple fact that you all have beards.
Look at me and ParVision.
One Piece has to do with it too.
He really said follicle diversity.
Probably. Debito, we actually are bonded by the fact that half of us are related, directly. ParVision is the odd man out there, I suppose.
ParVision is my third cousin.
I think most people don't know that we are related.
Yeah, I was about to say, have you told them this?
Nah.
Yeah. Do we not?
No, they
I
don't
feel
know.
like nobody knows.
They don't know.
Okay. We did get another $5 super chat from Feds Be Tippin'. It says, my first time in the stream, been tuned in on Spotify. Love the stream. Keep working, boys.
Hey.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Oh, man. Oh, we got another call. How's it going, y'all? This is that One Piece Talk. Who are you and how are you? See, I can do it.
Hey, this is your boy NerdTaku.
Hey, NerdTaku.
Colin Zimmerman.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
We good, bro. Larry drunk. I gotta take the calls today.
Nah, the bladder cleared it out. It's good now.
I can't help but notice he's been real quiet except for his soapbox rant.
Yeah, man.
He's chilling today. He said he was going to chill out today.
I never knew I was this important.
Just know, don't worry. I drove Larry here, y'all. He gonna get home safe.
Okay.
Maybe.
He needs some milk.
Do you have a question, man? What's up?
We need Marv to read one.
Yeah, so I went down a rabbit hole of theories. It all started with the Crocomom theory.
Oh, that's the wrong hole.
No, I would never accept.
All right, that's where it started. Let's see where it goes.
I did get to an interesting theory about how people think that Crocodile is Roger's son.
Mm.
And I saw it on Reddit, and I didn't really have too much information on it, but I looked into it. But when they did the episode 0, they made sure not to show Crocodile's face during Roger's execution. And I thought it might have been either because he was a woman at the time, like Ivankov said, or because he was crying because his dad was dying.
Mm-hmm.
And it made more sense to me because in Impelled Down, he had no reason to actually really stay with them and go to the Marineford War.
I mean, he had
but
to.
He stayed anyway.
I mean, there was nowhere to go. You know what I mean with that. But I can accept that. As far as him being Roger's son, how do y'all feel about that?
Well, I just want to say the beginning. So on stream, I was thinking about it because, like, you know, people bring up these theories and it's like, Par, what do you think? And I'm like, so then I sat down and I looked at it and I was like, at the beginning, the premise of it was that Oda said that he showed Luffy's parent, right? And he was going to show it in the next chapter, right? That's what he said. And so when I looked at that, or in the next volume, that's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I looked at that, people, I think, took that and was like, oh, he already showed Luffy's, like, parents. But when it's translated from Japanese, the plural doesn't stay. So he meant, it could just mean one parent. And then the next volume, we heard about Garp. It was Garp said Luffy's dragon's son. So then that's what I think Oda meant. Because Oda said, like, you'll be really happy to know in the next volume that, you know, that's all he said.
Well,
so.
Par, that's not his question.
No, but I'm saying that the Croco Mom thing, like, a lot of people brought that up, and I was just like, you know, because I'm pretty sure it stemmed off of that SBS, and it was like a translation thing that he said parents versus just parent.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that, though.
But the Roger son, the Crocodile daughter then, because if you're saying it's a girl, I don't know about that.
Halfway. It made a little bit of sense to me just because of the fact that he was doing almost like what Roger wanted to do, just in a different time period, because he was trying to gather all the ancient weapons. So it was almost like he was trying to fulfill it, almost like Roger said, because he said, my son will be the one to do it. But if he had a daughter at first, it would make sense that he went to Eva to change so he could make his father right.
Jeez, bro, that's I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
No.
I used to actually theorize that Crocodile was Whitebeard's actual son, and that's one of the reasons why he really was targeting him. But if he was Roger's son, it could be another reason why he was targeting Whitebeard. Stop donating, bro. What do y'all think?
I honestly just believe that Roger actually just had one child and it was Ace. Because I'm thinking of...
No, go ahead.
Because I was thinking of, like, then why did the world government not know this either and they didn't go after Crocodile? Because if they're going to go, I'm just going to kill one of Roger's sons, Ace, but I'm just going to neglect Crocodile completely.
Yeah.
But then
they wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known. And two,
I feel like there'd be more parallels drawn. Like if it was like you know, I think authors sometimes do that where they they don't flesh out.
Arm, bro. He has a gold hook for an arm.
No.
Well, authors sometimes put an inside joke for themselves. They don't flesh out in the story. It's for themselves, right? For this one, it's like I don't think he'd ever tell us that Crocodile is his mom or his daughter or whatever, like that kind of thing. But like if there were lines like Crocodile saying like something with Ace, then I could feel it. But I don't remember any kind of lines that like Crocodile talking about Ace, or like it was always like when he went there, he's like, I kind of have to go. And then with Whitebeard, it's like, I want to take out Whitebeard. And then he was just like Luffy's like pocket, like every time Luffy is about to die, Crocodile just shows up.
He did save Ace's life. one time the main force.
Oh,
So
that
that's
is
just-
true.
But
That
he
is
just
true.
said that he didn't want the world government to get their way. That's that's his reason.
I don't
Crocodile's
see it, bro.
weird.
We're gonna have to wrap. We got one more call. But thank you so much for the call, man. Seriously, that was a good question.
Thank you for doing this every week. I just got caught up on the whole podcast in a quick stint.
All right.
Appreciate
it.
Yeah.
Keep calling.
Yeah, keep going.
So many super chats.
So many super chats.
Oh man, I gotta read some of these. Oz donated like 8 times. But thanks for the call. It says Larry like the penguin from Madagascar. Smile away.
Smile away, boys.
Smile away, boys. It says, boys, I gotta head out early. Girlfriend wants to watch more One Piece. Later, Nakama from Oz as well. Oz, man, it's always love, bro. We got another $55 super chat. No, that's not $55. What is NOK?
Norwegian krone.
Okay, whatever that is. We got 55 of those. It says, give my boy Par a dap from me. Watching this dude has sparked so many ideas in my head.
Hey.
I got you.
Listen, before we end the super chat,
Blue.
if y'all haven't followed ParVision, please do. He's probably one of the most amazing. Hold on the calls, man. He's probably one of the most amazing content creators for One Piece, and he's pushing forward the community as well. Even though he kind of walks on the line of One Piece madness,
he dances on that line.
It's more intellect than it is theoretical.
Yes.
So please look into the description below. You'll see his links for Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. I believe I wrote Instagram and YouTube as well. But you can find Parv in our description. So please follow him.
I like how he says the One Piece. He's the one who encourages half the One Piece.
We did get one more super chat from Feds Tippin. It says, do y'all think Kaido's awakening is coming soon?
Yeah, we kind of talked about that.
Yeah. I would just one word answer. I would say yes.
Yes.
I hope so. Yes.
I don't know about 1050, but
Parv.
yes.
Parv. Wow. Marv. One more call. Oh man.
You can drop your question real quick.
Oh,
You're such a normal.
My question was, what's your favorite fight in Onigashima so far? I actually parsed up each of the fights and all their panels together and sent them to each of them. So I was gonna have them.
You didn't send it to me?
I don't have your email.
You put it on Discord.
You didn't read my skunk story, so
nah.
Getting no links from me. No, I can send it to you. I'll probably drop it in Discord for the rest of y'all. What's your favorite fight on Onigashima so far? Assuming that this one is done.
I have to see it animated.
Yeah?
It's so different.
Are you only going by Straw Hats?
No, I had Killer versus Hawkins in there. I'm doing the Kid versus Big Mom. Kid and Law versus Big Mom too.
I like the Killer Hawkins fight, but like that was in manga, right? But animated, like I think the Zoro King fight's gonna look insane.
It's gonna look crazy.
Insane. Based off, they took one panel of Zoro in 1003, and it just the beginning of it looked awful because it was the Tatsumaki thing, and he just kind of like Beybladed up, and I was just like, I don't know about that. But like the aftermath, what he did to Kaido, that was insane.
Yeah.
Like that was really sick. So if we see that done to the entirety of the fight, oh my god, that's 100%. That's gonna be everyone's favorite fight. Like no one's gonna care about Gear 5.
No more calls?
Do we have no more calls, Marv?
Like put the hammer
It's
down.
alright, man. We had to shout Par out, bro. He deserves it.
Yeah.
Even though he was late. For me, because I asked the question, it's actually Killer versus Hawkins. It just the tie between him and Kid, and the way that the fight worked, where it was like him defying the odds with the cards. Like I just really like that, and I just like read all these fights back to back in a row. That was the one that I like vibe with the most.
I think when
I read it in manga, yeah. It was like short and sweet, but like it was like really good, really well done.
My bad. The only reason you think that is because we had that same realization of how Enies Lobby was directed. That when that fight happened, it was focused for like 2 chapters and then it was over. The fact is, every other fight besides that lasted like
10
to 20 chapters. So it's really hard to dissect currently what Wano actually is until we see it in a way that we can comprehend it easily. Because we're viewing Wano in separate categories. And these categories range to 7. So if we're viewing 7 categories at once and we're thinking like, how does one fight actually feel like? It's hard. It's really hard. And that's when I was trying to point out that Wano and Enies Lobby, even though they're the same, they differ so much in the realm of Oda writing out the story and Oda wanting to finish up the story. And we've always said that, right? Like he said that there's only 5 years left of this story left for him to tell.
Someone said to me that
and it's a lie.
There's 5 years left in verse.
Yeah. and the thing is, it's like...
Hey, yeah, we got 1 minute to take this call. What's going on? This is that One Piece Talk. Who are you and how are you? Oh, they dropped. Well, I mean, that's all we can do for calls today, guys. It was a great 2 hours. I'm glad we had.
To answer your question, just to troll to start, it could lead to a big old fight. Just to troll to lead to a fight. King versus Marco because Marco was slumped.
Oh my god!
Just to troll and lead to a fight.
Don't do that, bro. Don't do that.
Can I hijack the last minute to just drop the?
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm gonna have a theory out soon, and I wanted to tell you. We can talk about this later, but for you guys listening, just think about this real quick. It might sound crazy to you, but we know 2 families, the Kozuki and Amatsuki, right, in the Void Century. We don't even know about Shimotsuki. We don't even know what Ryuma's time period is, right? Kozuki, Amatsuki, right? I'm not going to say anything more besides I'm pretty sure the Amatsuki was the royal family that went to Celestial Dragons.
I like that.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
I have way more evidence. We can talk about that, but I'm gonna leave that with you guys. That was my gift for being late.
Stay tuned for Par's theory video on that because that sounds dope. Larry, send us home, man.
All right, so episode 49 in the books. I'm kind of lit. I just want to say, if you go into the description, everything that you could possibly follow Par on, those links are all in the description. So it's one click, follow. That's it. He has Twitch, he has Twitter, he has YouTube, and he has TikTok. Please follow all of them. He's been an amazing guest as usual. We're going to have more talks. So we're going to go live on TikTok. My battery's pretty full, so it won't die. And just watch out for that. So I just want to say this is that One Piece Talk. I just want to thank everybody for everything. My name is Larry.
Lawrence. Rhino. Sam.
ParVision.
And this is that One Piece Talk.
Jana.
Thank you, Nakama. Peace.
Jana.
Jana.